Hey class, Prof JC here. I want to welcome you to our very first podcast for this semester. Some of you have taken me before and I want to welcome you back. And some of you probably have not taken me yet, or maybe this is one of your first courses. I want to explain quickly kind of how this works with these 1-unit courses, or at least with this 1-unit course that I'm teaching. So this is a course that talks all about service and what that means. And so all of our readings and everything we talk about in this 1-unit course is really going to be service and what that means to live a life of service. And I hope to give a different spin on what that means. And we're not just going to read books about service, right? It goes much deeper than that. How do we live lives of service? How do we become people who add value to society? So that's what this is going to be about. And so every week, or at least on most weeks, I'm going to provide a podcast for you, just like this. And if you've had me before, you know I can talk quite a bit. So my goal this semester is to bring these down to 10 minutes and under. Okay, now I may not always get that. If there's something we need to talk about, then I want to make sure we do that. But that's my goal, is to make sure we keep these around 10 minutes or under. And so here in just a second, I'll start my timer over here, and that'll help us kind of stay on track. And so what we'll do is we'll just have the podcast, and throughout the podcast, somewhere in the podcast, sometimes at the end and sometimes throughout, okay? You just never know. I'll ask about 2 to 3 different questions for you. You answer those questions. You write out the answers to those questions. You don't have to respond to anybody or anything like that. You just write this out, and then you turn those in by Sunday evening. It is really important that you put your reflection hats on. I remember when I was a kid, they call it your thinking caps. Okay. So, some of you, especially people who are more kind of accounting and science minded, which is great, and we need you out there. And I've had people tell me this before, that I can't stand this reflection that you're asking us to do, but it's part of this. Okay. I think all great leaders, they understand how to reflect. They know how to reflect. They have a deeper sense of mission. It's not just about numbers, and it's also not just about people, right? It's about understanding why we do what we do and why we make the decisions we do. And that's what these 1-unit classes really are all about. So I'm going to turn on my timer here, and we'll start the 10-minute timer right now. And I want to dive into what we're going to talk about today, the PVM, and how important this is for the direction we're going. So I want to introduce you to this. I kind of call it the Prof JC, the Prof JC kind of framework. I talk about this all the time. Most of my classes, they know what this is, the PVM. It's really important. So I'm going to share my screen, but if you're listening to this on the podcast, or you're listening to it and you're not seeing it, you'll be fine as well. But I thought today that I kind of use some slides to help me kind of get through this. So let's start with what this is. It's kind of your personal constitution. And if we took all of these 3-unit courses together and we mashed them all up together and we did them all together, by the end of it, you would have this written out, your personal constitution or leadership manifesto. I'm not sure. I call it a personal constitution in my own personal life, but I think we're actually going to adopt this for Point Loma, and we'll probably get a different name like the leadership manifesto. But because this is a 1-unit class, you're only going to look at the S, which is the service component of it. Okay. And so all of that's going to be based on our mission, because we want to live a life of mission. But let me explain what that means. And then as we get towards the end of our podcast today, I'll explain to you why this is important for a life of service. So your PVM, and here's what this stands for. And if you've had me before, you've probably heard this. And so just bear with me as we get through this. Your purpose, or excuse me, PV, principles, values, purpose, vision, mission. Principles, values, purpose, vision, mission. And here's what I think. I think a person who understands their PVM, that person is a person who's going to be unstoppable. You will not be able to get in their way. They're just going to be unstoppable. That's just the only way to put it, because they're going to know who they are. And that's really important. I'm teaching a class this semester also on integrity. And that's the thing I talk to them about. It's really important to know all of this stuff, because if you're going to live a life of integrity, which means you're going to live a whole life, a complete life, that you're going to be the same person at church that you are at home, that you are in the office places, you are at the restaurant, whatever it is, you are a complete person. Well, first you got to know who you are. And here's what I found: the older I get, most people don't really know who they are. They don't really know their principles, their values, their purpose, vision, mission. So they just go through life kind of empty. I don't want that for you. I want a life of mission, a life of service for you. So this is important for us. But we're just going to focus on that last M right there. So I'm going to walk you through the PVM, but our attention this semester is going to be on that last M, which is mission. Your principles are the unwavering rules for life. These are rules that do not change no matter what. Okay. So, the last example I gave was maybe one of your principles is I do not cheat no matter what. I don't cheat. So that means when your taxes come around and one day when you're making, lots of money, right? And you're making more money than maybe what you make now, especially for those of you who are younger, in this class, you start making good money. It might be easier on those taxes, right? To put in a different number, to move that decimal point or something like that, especially for some of you who might go on to make millions of dollars. That might be easy, right? To do that. But when you have a principle that says I don't cheat, that means I don't cheat on my taxes. It means I don't step out on relationships, right? Partnerships, relationships, marriages. It means I don't cut corners at work, right? I make sure if I'm supposed to be there till 5, I don't leave at 4:55, right? I don't get there 5 minutes late. I show up on time and I give the company what it's due. I do not cheat. Okay. Your values are behaviors in all seasons. A lot of people get this, they have different views on this. And I don't think I've done enough study on this to kind of, I feel very strongly about this, but values are behaviors. So when an organization talks about what is it that we value, that those values are born out, those values are played out in the behaviors of their people. So if we say that we value respect, that means that people have to act and behave in respectful ways. If we say that we value trust, that means people have to act and behave in ways that earn trust, right? If we say that we value, I don't know, I'm throwing out values here. If we say that we value integrity, that's a big one. That means people have to act in ways that are of ways of integrity, ways of being, right? So values are shown out in how we behave. Okay. So values are behaviors in all seasons of life. And that's important to know. So I've got mine listed here. Here are 6 values that I think are very important: to be calm, to be cool, to be collected, to be centered, to be consistent, courageous. Every day, if I can say that I've done these 6 things, then I've done what I've needed to do. And what's interesting is the other day I was at the airport and I'm out here in the Midwest right now, but I had to fly through Texas and they had a huge storm. So they parked us on the tarmac in Austin, Texas. Then I missed my flight in Dallas, Texas. Had to wait 4 more hours, and then I had to sit on the tarmac in Dallas before we could fly out. And then I flew in, and I had to drive from Indianapolis to Columbus, Ohio, 3 hours overnight in the rain. Got 90 minutes of sleep, and I was a little bit upset through all of that. And I lost my cool. But now no one saw it. It was just me, right? But some language came out of my mouth that probably shouldn't have came out of my mouth. And so I knew at the end of the day that I didn't really live by my values that day, right? Now, most people probably, there was so much going on that day, so I at least had some grace with myself. But having that standard makes sure that on a daily basis, I can always go back and say, how did I behave today? And did I live according to those values? Your purpose is the thing that you were born to do, whatever that is. Okay. And I think everybody was given a purpose. For some people, the purpose might be, hey, I'm going to go out there and start a business. For other people, it might be, I'm going to run a nonprofit. Some people are going to become teachers. Some people are going to be stay-at-home dads or stay-at-home moms, right? And be great parents. So only you know what that is, but your purpose is the thing that you were born to do. That then leads us to your vision, and your vision is your intended destination. That's where you're going to go. Okay. So you don't have to guess on this. You don't have to figure it out. But every day you get up and you know exactly the destination you're going. Some people get this wrong and they think that vision is more mission or, some weird things out there, but a vision is something you can see. If all of us together in this classroom, we're getting ready to take a vacation together and we said, hey, we want to go to New York City, then that would be our vision. We're going to get to New York City. We're going to go see some shows. We're going to go have some, great restaurant experiences there, whatever it might be. And then here's the thing with that vision. Once that's over, then we have to set a new vision. So vision, it's almost like this thing that you're always going to be striving to. And the bigger the vision, the longer it's going to take to get there, but it's something you're striving to. And when you reach one vision, you reach one destination, you got to set a vision for the next destination. Your mission, and this is where we're going to spend the rest of our time this semester. These are the steps that you take to get to your vision. Okay, you know what your purpose is, you know the direction you're going. These are all the steps you're going to take to get there. And so as we get towards the end of this semester, you're going to write out what you believe your mission is. Okay. And it's not some people, and I'm going to get a little tougher on this because I got some people in former classes that are writing out their mission like it's, I want to be a kind person. Okay, that's great. That's a value. Okay. But that's not a mission. A mission is actually something you do that helps you get to the direction you're going. Okay, so it's really important. I hope you've thought about this, about what your purpose is, what your vision is, and some of you have, some of you haven't. But these steps are then going to be all the things that you have to do to help you get there. Now, why is this important for a class on service? You say, why are we talking about this? We're supposed to be talking about service, Prof. JC. Well, here's the reason why this is important. A life of service is going to be a life that's going to be a life of mission. Okay, that means that you've got steps that you're taking, that you're every single day you're getting up and you're saying, I'm living a life of service, and here's how I'm doing it. I'm doing it by taking these steps that are going to help me reach my vision, that are going to help me live out my full purpose, whatever that is. And so we're going to talk about that in the business world, in the nonprofit space. What does it mean to live a life of service? Well, of course, it's our mission, and we're going to talk about that. But it's adding value to society. So these steps that you take, these steps that you write out are going to be steps that help you add value, right, to society. That's what the most important thing when we think about service is. It's not about you. It is never about you. It's about adding value to the larger world out there. Okay, so we're going to do a lot of talking about that over the next several weeks. And I'm very excited about this class. I'm very excited about what we're going to talk about. So here's the first question I want you to answer today. Well, I guess it's really two questions, that I want you to answer today. What is mission? What is the definition of mission based on what we just talked about? Okay. What is the definition of mission? Okay. So this will be three questions. What is the definition of mission? Okay. How does mission relate to your PVM, your PVM, especially your PVM? Okay, how does mission relate to that? And why is mission so important when it comes to your PVM? That's the second question. And then the third question that I want you to ask is there's the alarm right there to make sure that we end on time. The third question that I want you to ask is, why is this so important if we're going to live a life of service? Why is this idea of mission so important if we're going to live a life of service? That's all I got for you today. I'm really excited about this semester and the time that we're going to spend together today. So make sure you answer these questions, and all you have to do is write them out. You don't have to respond to anybody or anything like that. You just write them out. Make sure they're in by Sunday, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next podcast. Thanks so much, everybody, and let's have a great semester. Take care.